executive producer of the show will be cognizant of those, the decisions that they make, what they thought might have rated.
When he was at the pinnacle of his career, he was adored by millions of people, and then, for no apparent reason, he vanished. If one of the most talented comedians of our time were to leave a show that he had helped to establish as a tradition, what would be the reason? Continue to stay tuned as we reveal the true reason behind Jon Stewart's unexpected departure from The Daily Show and the activities he has been engaged in since then. If you are currently viewing this, you are probably aware that Jon Stewart is the person responsible for making The Daily Show a well-known show. Not only was he a comedian, but he also hosted them for 16 years. Through his straightforward and entertaining approach, he assisted millions of individuals in comprehending complex topics and transformed satire into a political force. In any case, what exactly took place? There has always been a serious side to Stewart, despite the fact that he is known for his comedic abilities. Over the course of his time on The Daily Show, he established himself as a powerful advocate for causes that he was deeply committed to, such as the rights of veterans. The idea that he could make a greater contribution to these causes outside of the context of a comedy show began to take hold of him. Stewart maintained his influence even after he resigned from his position, focusing his attention on these causes and even testifying in front of Congress. Why then did Haven decide to leave his job after experiencing such a successful career transition? Let us delve even further into the origins of everything. Although Jon Stewart was born Jonathan Stewart Leibowitz on November 28, 1962 in New York City, he spent his childhood in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, with his Jewish grandmother and grandfather. The early years of his life were full of exciting experiences, comedic moments, and intellectual curiosity, all of which contributed to the development of his sharp sense of humor and insightful analysis. Donald Leibowitz, Stewart's father, was a professor of physics, and Marion, Stewart's mother, worked as an educator and educational consultant. Stewart was named after all three of his parents. According to him, the divorce of his parents occurred when he was 11 years old, and he describes it as a difficult and formative period in his life. When Stewart was a child, he was subjected to racist bullying, and he frequently used comedy as a means of coping with it. This was a skill that he would later develop and perfect on a national level. During his time at Lawrence High School, Stewart was a student and athlete who excelled, particularly in the sport of football. The use of comedy and satire was Stewart's preferred method of addressing both social and personal issues, despite the fact that he was a talented student. His early use of comedy as a coping strategy and shield shaped his distinctive comedic style, which combined sarcasm, irony, and self-deprecation. His comedic style was a combination of these elements combined. Once Stewart had completed his high school education, he enrolled at the College of William and Mary, which is located in Virginia. In the beginning, he chose to major in chemistry. However, he quickly lost interest in the subject and switched to psychology. In spite of the fact that he had earned his degree, he was unable to find a permanent position in the field of psychology. Rather, his time spent as a student at the undergraduate level was instrumental in shaping his perspective and honing his sense of humor. After taking part in a few plays at the college theater, he developed a greater interest in comedic performances. Following the completion of his education, he worked in a variety of temporary positions, including that of a barman of sorts. In addition to being a contract manager for the City University of New York, she is a puppeteer for children who have disabilities. Following his decision to pursue his comedic dreams on a professional level and immerse himself in the flourishing stand-up comedy culture in New York City, Stewart made his way back to the city himself in the year 1986. In part, he continued to feel uneasy about his Jewish heritage and desired a stage name that was more straightforward. As a result, he dropped his last name, Leibowitz, and began performing under the stage name Jon Stewart. Stewart persevered through the challenges that many aspiring comedians face while working late-night gigs and performing in small venues for a number of years. His early routines, which began to garner the interest of New York comic circles, were founded on his observations of culture, personal experiences, and dry comedy. These routines continued to attract these circles' attention. Both Stewart's talent and his dogged determination paid off in the end. Beginning in the early 1990s, he began to garner attention for his appearances on stand-up comedy shows, such as Caroline's Comedy Hour and The Comedy Strip. The year 1993 marked the beginning of his career when he was hired by MTV to serve as the host of The Jon Stewart Show. In addition to being one of MTV's first attempts at a talk show format, this late-night program quickly became a fan favorite among a select group of people. Young viewers and fans of Stewart's genuine, easygoing approach to comedy were drawn to The Jon Stewart Show because of its quirky humor and charming everyman personality. Stewart's approach to comedy is genuine and easygoing. Stewart's position in the entertainment industry was solidified, and he was established as a distinctive voice with a great deal of potential as a result of the program, especially considering that it only lasted for 2 seasons. Additionally, during this time period, Stewart appeared as a guest on a number of different late-night shows, the most notable of which was his replacement of Tom Snyder on The Late Late Show. As a result of his warm and humorous demeanor, he began making appearances on well-known programs such as Late Night with David Letterman. This made him an excellent candidate for jobs that required him to host guests. A person who Stewart considers to be one of his personal heroes, David Letterman, took an interest in him and provided him with invaluable career guidance and coaching. Stewart acknowledges that Letterman had a significant influence on his comedic style, particularly with regard to the manner in which he combined sarcasm with sincere inquiry and self-awareness. Stewart was able to experiment with writing and acting in Hollywood thanks to his popularity on television, which attracted the attention of Hollywood. His acting career included roles in films such as Playing by Heart, 1998, and Mixed Nuts, 1994, as well as television series such as Spin City and The Nanny. The success of his career in comedy and television, on the other hand, was significantly higher than that of his attempt at acting. Stewart has frequently made fun of his brief Hollywood career, claiming that he soon discovered that his skills were more appropriate for hosting and humor than for conventional acting. In the year 1999, Stewart was presented with the opportunity of a lifetime when Craig Kilborn extended an invitation to him to take over The Daily Show. After experiencing some initial success, the show searched for a new perspective and a new strategy in order to continue its journey for success. After Stewart accepted the invitation, he wasted no time in putting his own spin on the show and making it his own. Stewart gave The Daily Show a more political edge by addressing topics that appealed to younger viewers who were politically conscious. Rather than simply making fun of the structure of news programs, Stewart addressed topics that were relevant to these viewers. A sharp and frequently biting criticism of politicians, the media, and cultural hypocrisy was one of the distinguishing characteristics of Stewart's take on The Daily Show. He and his writing team, which included future comedy stars such as Stephen Colbert, Samantha Bee, and John Oliver, made the show a satirical powerhouse, particularly during major events such as the presidential election in the United States in the year 2000, the attacks on September 11th, the Iraq War, and the financial crisis that occurred in 2008. Stewart was able to garner a devoted following as a result of his candid and unreserved commentary on the aforementioned subjects, and The Daily Show became a significant cultural force that influenced the way in which many Americans interpreted political discourse in the media. Unlike other comedy shows, Stewart's humor was characterized by a blend of skepticism and sincerity, and he frequently used interviews with politicians, journalists, and activists to delve deeper into complicated issues than other comedy shows. Over the course of time, he became known as a reliable source for young people who were looking for news that was not only entertaining, but also thought-provoking. It was during his tenure at The Daily Show that Stewart rose to prominence in the television industry, and the show itself was awarded a multitude of Emmys and other accolades. The impact that Stewart had during these times went well beyond the realm of entertainment. At the same time that he revolutionized American political satire, he gave satirical news formats a new level of respectability. The appearance that Stewart made in 2004 on CNN's Crossfire, in which he criticized the show's biased approach, ultimately led to the cancellation of the show and demonstrated his commitment to responsible journalism and ethics in the media. Let's go back in time to the year 2015. Stewart made the decision to step down from his role as the host of The Daily Show. Jon had been on air 4 nights a week, week after week, for the past few weeks. Even though it seemed like it was all jokes, the job was actually quite demanding. His exhaustion started to set in after he had spent a significant amount of time conducting research, writing the script, and filming. It was acknowledged by Stewart that there were times when he had the sensation that he was functioning on empty. Ultimately, he was carrying out the responsibilities of a journalist and news anchor while simultaneously employing comedic techniques. Having done so for 16 years, it had a significant and detrimental effect on him over the course of time. It was mentioned that he wanted to focus on other activities and that he was experiencing burnout as a result of overseeing the production of hundreds of episodes and a demanding schedule for The Daily Show that lasted for 4 days per week. Because of the demanding schedule, it was necessary to engage in continuous planning, the production of new content, and the maintenance of awareness regarding current events. In his acknowledgement, Stewart stated that he was beginning to experience the consequences of this pattern. During an interview with The Guardian, he stated in a straightforward manner, "I was just so tired. To me, it appeared to be a distraction. I have the impression that my emotional investment was excessive." There is a possibility that Stewart's exhaustion was brought on in part by the intensity and dedication he displayed towards the show. In addition to being known for his meticulous nature, Stewart was committed to ensuring that The Daily Show maintained its high quality and up-to-date content. Over the course of his career as a journalist covering the administrations of both Bush and Obama, he frequently expressed his discontent with the current state of politics in the United States. Additionally, Stewart became dissatisfied with the fact that the topics he covered were unchanging. He asserted that he had grown tired of the repetitive nature of the political and media landscapes in the United States, which were repeatedly revolving around the same themes of anger, blame-shifting, and sensationalism. At the time of his departure, he made the famous remark that he had grown weary of being angry. The emotional burden that he bore as a result of bearing difficult political realities on a daily basis was suggested by this statement, which was enlightening and provided valuable insight. Stewart was getting to the point where his work no longer seemed like a rewarding challenge, but rather like a taxing obligation. This was despite the fact that he was committed to his work. His return to television came in the form of The Problem with Jon Stewart, which is available on Apple TV. On this program, he engages in in-depth conversations about a variety of social and political issues. The early years of Jon Stewart's life and career illustrate a path that is characterized by tenacity, inquisitiveness, and an unwavering commitment to the truth. From being bullied as a child in New Jersey to performing stand-up comedy in New York City and eventually becoming well-known on The Daily Show, Stewart has become one of the most well-known and significant figures in American satire. His career began with him performing stand-up comedy in 2007. This one-of-a-kind comedic style of his, which combines humor with empathy and critical thinking, has left an indelible mark on political discourse as well as on television. Jon saw a significant shift in the political landscape of the United States. The show featured hilarious criticism of the government and the media on a regular basis when he first began it. On the other hand, as time went on, the show began to address more weighty and emotional topics, particularly as the political climate became more contentious. As far as Stewart is concerned, there were times when the gravity of the issues seemed to take precedence over the humorous moments. Additionally, as the popularity of social media increased, false information spread more rapidly than it had in the past. This made it more challenging for him and his staff to keep up with the vast number of topics that they are required to cover. Also contributing to Stewart's departure was his long-standing discontent with mainstream media, which served as a driving force behind his departure. Unrelenting criticism of American media, in particular cable news networks, is one of the most enduring legacies that The Daily Show has left behind. Some of the networks that Stewart frequently attacked were CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC. He criticized these networks for their sensationalist reporting, their lack of context, and the financial forces that shaped a significant portion of their reporting. He felt disheartened by the manner in which media outlets contributed to the spread of fear, fueled division, and frequently failed to fulfill their democratic responsibilities. His appearance on CNN's Crossfire in 2004, in which he famously criticized the show's hosts for harming the United States of America by putting an emphasis on pointless dispute rather than in-depth discussion, is one of the most prominent examples of his disdain for the media. In the course of the development of The Daily Show, Stewart's irritation with the media only grew, which resulted in his frequently scathing criticisms of the shortcomings of journalism. As Stewart's dissatisfaction with the media continued to grow, he realized that this was not a passing fad. On the contrary, it was a pressing and persistent concern. He was under the impression that the problems had only gotten worse over the course of time, despite the fact that he had hoped that more responsible journalism would emerge. He had reached a point where it appeared impossible to bring about change within the industry that he had spent a significant amount of time condemning, and his resignation was, in some ways, a subtle acknowledgement of the limits of his authority. On the other hand, this was not the only reason he left. There is still a significant factor that led to his decision to quit. What do you think about it? The fact that Jon Stewart is a family man should also be mentioned. Away from the public eye, Stewart leads a simple life that is centered on his family, which includes his wife and their children. In spite of the fact that his comedy career has garnered a lot of attention, his family life and romantic life continue to be kept relatively private and low-key. Stewart has devoted a significant portion of his life to his marriage to Tracy McShane and the commitment they have made to the upbringing of their children. It was in the year 1995 when Stewart went on a blind date with Tracy McShane, who was a veterinary technician and an activist for animal rights. They had a mutual acquaintance who introduced them, and they clicked immediately after meeting. As a result of Tracy's compassion and dedication to animals, Stewart experienced a profound romantic attraction to her. Jonathan's wit and humor, on the other hand, were highly valued by Tracy. Their successful partnership was built on the foundations of mutual respect, a close bond, and shared ideals throughout their relationship. Following 4 years of dating, Stewart made his proposal to Tracy in a manner that was both original and unforgettable. "Are you going to marry me?" is the final response to a personalized crossword puzzle that he commissioned for the New York Times. The puzzle contained hints about their relationship. Naturally, Tracy agreed to marry him, and the couple tied the knot in the year 2000. Respect, shared values, and a dedication to making the world a better place have been the pillars upon which their successful marriage has been built. The year 2004 marked the birth of the couple's first child, a son whom they named Nathan Thomas. In 2006, 2 years after their first child, they welcomed their daughter, Maggie Rose. Stewart shifted his attention to becoming a parent, and he frequently discussed on The Daily Show how the arrival of his children had altered his outlook on life. He frequently expressed gratitude to his wife and children for helping him maintain his equilibrium and humility, and he acknowledged that his family life served as a soothing counterbalance to the demanding nature of his profession. The affection that Stewart and McShane have for their feline companions is yet another significant facet of their family life. Both of them are fervent advocates for the rights of animals, and in 2015, they established the Hawk Hickson Farm Foundation, which is established as a farm sanctuary in the state of New Jersey. As a manifestation of their mutual commitment to the preservation of the environment and the well-being of animals, the sanctuary provides a secure environment for farm animals that have been neglectful or injured. The children of the couple, who frequently come to assist in the care of the animals, have developed empathy and a sense of responsibility throughout the course of their involvement in the refuge, which is a family project. Even though Stewart is well known, he has never failed to prioritize his family over his own interests. After he left The Daily Show in 2015, he decided to withdraw from the public eye in order to devote more time to his relationship with Tracy and their children. In interviews, Stewart expressed his desire to be involved in the lives of his children as they grew older. This desire was one of the reasons he made the decision to leave his position. This family-centered worldview is reflected in his approach to maintaining a healthy work-life balance. The relationship that Jon Stewart has with Tracy McShane and the way that they raise their children demonstrates that he has a profound commitment to comedy, compassion, and a desire to make the world a better place. Because Stewart's family has always been the foundation of his beliefs and actions, whether it be in his work, parenting, or animal protection, his personal life is a monument to love, dedication, and a common goal. This is because Stewart has always placed his family at the center of his life. For years, he had been following a strict routine. When he returned home after saying goodbye to his children in the morning, he frequently found that they had already fallen asleep. After leaving The Daily Show, I found that my time was more consumed by being a father and a spouse. It was clear that he desired a more relaxed way of life, one in which he could devote more time to his family, get more rest, and have the opportunity to experiment with new creative endeavors. The character of Jon Stewart continues to develop over time. As a result, his desire to engage in novel creative endeavors was another factor that contributed to his decision to leave The Daily Show. After 16 years in the same position, he was eager to try new things and investigate other aspects of his job. He was eager to experience new things. In interviews that were conducted after he left his position, Stewart expressed his desire to work on projects that would give him the opportunity to forge new connections with audiences and experiment with different methods of storytelling, a work of seriousness about a journalist who is being held captive in Iran. In 2014, he went on to direct the film Rosewater, which demonstrated his desire to move beyond the realm of humor and into more diverse and dramatic storytelling formats. Furthermore, Stewart expressed his desire to spend more time with his family, which he mentioned in his statement. He stated that he wished to be more available for his family and to lead a lifestyle that was less hectic because of the demanding schedule that The Daily Show had, which left him with little time for his personal life. What does the future hold for The Daily Show if Stewart is no longer the host? Well, let's find out. Jon Stewart's departure from The Daily Show marked a significant turning point, not only for the political comedy genre in the United States, but also for the program specifically. It would be difficult to overstate the impact that he has had on political discourse and television. It was through the development of a new genre of satirical news that he was able to revolutionize the late-night format and pave the way for programs such as Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and The Colbert Report. Stewart's brand of comedy has left an indelible mark on American society because it is sharp, knowledgeable, and not afraid to take on some of the most powerful people in the country. After everything was said and done, Jon Stewart made the decision to leave The Daily Show because he felt that he had accomplished everything that he could in that role. His decision was influenced by his exhaustion, his dissatisfaction with the political environment and the media, his need for new creative outlets, his dedication to his personal life, and his desire to prioritize his family. As he himself admitted, the show had deteriorated into a relationship that was no longer functioning as effectively as it once did. Despite the fact that Stewart's departure marked the conclusion of a remarkable period in the history of television, his legacy as a pioneer in the field of political comedy continues to live on. There is evidence of his influence in the work of individuals that he inspired, as well as in the ongoing development of political commentary on television. On the other hand, it is evident that he has never stopped working towards making things better. If Jon were to leave The Daily Show, do you think it would be the same?